Hello everyone and welcome back to another Stormworks update video. In this video we'll be covering the update as of today, which is 0.5.16. Now as always we'll go over the new features added and finally we'll go ahead and test a few of them out. Now if you're enjoying this video, comment below anyone else you'd like to see in my upcoming videos in the future. While there, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and remember to click the little bell icon to be notified of any upcoming content as soon as it gets posted. So that all said, let's get straight into it and get started. So this week the devs have gone ahead and added two new components into the game. Now the first one is going to be the fluid jet. Now the fluid jet itself is going to be able to convert mechanical power and actual fluid into a high powered jet for actually generating thrust. Now with it itself, it actually has a couple different logical inputs and along with that also a couple connections. Now what it will need to actually work is you're going to need obviously electric as always if you're working in advanced mode. Along with that it will need a water input, so you're going to need to connect to either a tank or to the ocean itself when you're connecting to it. Along with that it also needs a power input, so obviously coming from an engine. Now this could be electric or it could be a normal diesel engine. It's up to you at the end of the day to see what you want to use. Now the component itself is quite big. It does weigh a little bit, obviously not that much in comparison to other components that we have in the game, but as far as the inputs go, now it has two deflectors itself. So it has one number input for deflector to go to the left and another input for deflector to go to the other side. Now both of them obviously will take a 1 signal, so this isn't going to be as simple as you'll normally see when you connect it to your chair. Obviously a chair left and right is -1 and 1, whereas these deflectors, to get it to go left, will need a +1 on one side and then we'll need a +1 on the other side if you wanted to go in the other direction. So it'll be interesting to see what people use microprocessors or different types of logic to actually get that to work and how they use that. That'll be quite interesting to see. Along with that there's another umbilical input which is going to be for the vertical trim. Now obviously this is something we wanted quite a long time and a lot of the content creators I know have actually been using pivots and so on and so forth on their actual propellers and things to get vertical trim normally in the past. However, now obviously moving forward with this jet engine we have vertical trim built in, so that's really nice to see. So we won't have to use our rudders or anything like that at the back of our boats or ships to actually achieve that, which will be quite nice to see. Now the second component they've gone ahead and added in is going to be the fluid slot port. Now this is going to be, as far as I'm correct, exactly a 1-to-1 as the normal fluid port. However, they're much bigger. It should be able to place a little bit more fluid and actually work a little better. I've also seen in the notes they did say that this is actually going to create a little bit more of a suction, but once again I haven't tested it, so we'll have to see how that works. At the moment it seems to just work as a normal fluid port as far as I can tell. Now along with that they've also gone ahead and actually added control for, or the capability of using your mouse to control different buttons. So you can actually go into the settings of the game and you can check here that if you go to your controls and then scroll down, you should have buttons here for mouse. Now you can see here button 1 and you can actually achieve that to hotkeys of your mouse, which is pretty cool. So people with obviously the specialized mouses that have quite a few different buttons, you can obviously hotwire those up to certain things in your vehicle, which I think is going to be pretty cool. So instead of using your keyboard, so that's a little nice interesting. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, I've placed the fluid jet on one of our boats that we've used in the past and we'll see how it works and how it performs in Stormworks. So you can see we've gone ahead and loaded up our boat from one of the tutorials. Now I've gone ahead and installed 2 of these actual water jets in the rear. Now simply just connecting them over to the 2 aircraft engines that were originally in this boat. Along with that we've also connected just a simple fluid port to the bottom of the ship to obviously draw water in to go into these 2 things. There's no pumps, nothing special, literally just all connected 1-to-1, nothing fancy in there. Now as far as connections goes, I've gone ahead and connected obviously my throttle to my engines. Simple, obviously that's what we need to do, so that's going to be simple WS. Now as far as the deflectors are concerned, I haven't set up any logic in this just yet. At the moment I have my A and D obviously to turn one direction, and then I obviously have my left and right to turn in another direction. Obviously this is where a little bit of logic will come into and a little bit of microprocessors, as I said earlier on. It'll be interesting to see how people actually figure this out and actually how they will work it in their vehicle. Along with that we also have the up and down connected to the vertical trim, so that's something we'll go ahead and test. So I'm going to go ahead and get this boat started up. I'm just going to give it a little bit of throttle, get rid of the clutch, and you can see straight away obviously we have thrust coming out of the actual water jets themselves. Now we're at quite a low throttle because they are very strong, so I would recommend just testing it out. They're extremely fast. But as far as the boat is concerned, as you can see here, I'm now pressing my D, which is now sending a 1 to the deflector, so it is turning in one direction. If I was to go ahead and use my left and right, once again give it a 1 signal, it will turn in the opposite direction, which is pretty cool. So it'll be interesting, as I said, to see what people actually are going to go ahead and do and fix and sort out for that. Now as far as the actual vertical trim goes, this is where it gets pretty cool. Now you can obviously just use, I've connected it to my up and down, so you can see as we go ahead and give it more of a 1 signal, it will actually go ahead and dig the actual boat into the water even more at the rear, because obviously our vertical trim is going in that direction. So that's really cool to see. I'm just going to increase the throttle just a bit here, just to get this going a little bit quicker. But yeah, really quite interesting. Now the other quite interesting thing, and I don't know if a lot of people know this yet, but if you were to go ahead and give a 1 signal to both of the deflectors, so which I'm going to go ahead and do right now, 1 signal to both the deflectors, the boat will actually go in reverse, because obviously it's now sending the thrust in opposite direction. It's deflecting it into another direction. So this is pretty cool. No changes to the engine at all, just to the actual jet thrust itself. So I'm really interested to see what we can get done with that and how we can incorporate that into our different boats and creations. Now you can see here my throttle is way too high, and these water jets are just throwing it around at the end of the day. So we're just going to go ahead and just enable our clutch again. So I think we'll go ahead and end today's video over there, guys. As always, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and found it somewhat entertaining and informative as always, and we'll see you in the next one.